Welcome in everybody to Fantasy Pros Live. This is the trade live stream, or maybe we should just call it the trade stream. It's me, Joey P, Joe Pizzapia. That, of course, is Andrew Erickson, and it's you, everybody hanging out there, asking questions in the chat on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the bell till it goes ding for notifications, and if you do all those good things might come to you, like the new giveaway. Erickson, have you seen this one yet from Trophy Smack? It's the Stunner ring. That's the way Andrew and all of his relatives talk out there in New England. That ring is a stunner. It's unbelievable. It's the greatest ring I've ever seen. Subscribe today to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Comment below. That's all you have to do, and somebody's going to win this bad boy. Don't forget to ring the bell till it goes ding for notifications, so you know if you are the big winner of our latest giveaway from our good friends over at TrophySmack.com. The destination for the best in fantasy football swag. All right, Andrew Erickson, I know you host the trade show every single week here. You're the guy to talk about trades, and I think it's important to open the show today with a little bit of a look inside the minds of where people are at right now. We are into week 4 when people are starting to really think about making some moves. So what's the approach out there in the trade streets?
Well, I think for starters, you got to look at where you stand in your league. And it's not necessarily always a reflection of your record. Now, if you're 0-3, it could mean your team is really bad, or it means you've just faced the 2 or the 3 top teams, right? And what you can do with League Sync is it will give you power rankings, right? So just like we do NFL power rankings, it's not just, oh, well, the Steelers are undefeated, they're the number 1 team in the NFL. That's not the way it works. It really looks into what your team is structured and if you actually are a good team or you're a team that is struggling. So what I would recommend is sync up your league and figure out where you stand in the power rankings. Now, if you are 0-3 with no hope in sight, you're 0-3 and you are very low in the power rankings, then the time is now to make a deal because your backs are against the wall. And how I approach this, you have to look at some of your elite assets and say, can I sell this now for parts, for multiple starting parts? Because you need to improve your starting lineup. That's the ultimate goal. You need to start racking up wins because, oh, great, I have a bunch of good players, but I didn't win any matchups, so I'm not going to make the playoffs. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. And the teams that you actually want to strike deals with are probably the teams that are atop the power rankings. The ones that are 3-0, those guys are more, or those gals and girls are more likely to deal because they're playing a little bit of the bully. They feel, hey, I'm 3-0. I can take on a little bit more risk here and there. I want to stash some players for the long side or the long term. Whereas you're really worried about right now. Hey, I need to start getting wins right now. Right. So that's something I would approach based on where you're standing. If you're 0-3, you're 3-0. These are kind of the ends of the spectrum that I would really be approaching trades with week 4 coming up.
I have a hot take here. I'm going to throw at you. See how you handle it. See if you bob and weave. I think it's time to buy all the tight ends. That's right.
That was going to be my next thing to break down was tight ends.
Was it? Because,
yes.
Well, good. I'm glad we're on the same page then, it seems like, because, 3 weeks ago, I lived in a universe, Andrew Erickson, where it was the greatest tight end class ever. It was a simpler time where tight ends were being drafted as early as the 2nd round, and there's no way we could go wrong. And now everything has gone wrong for tight ends over a couple weeks. Injuries, lack of performance. Travis Kelce gets the Chargers this week. All-time great numbers against the Chargers. They're a little lame right now on defense, too. They're missing their safety for this week for a suspension. You've got Mark Andrews rock bottom. You've got Trey McBride probably out this week. You've got all the tight ends that everybody coveted. Sam Laporta came up with an injury last week. I'm buying tight ends everywhere. And I'm thinking that strategy eventually is going to pay off for me. What are your thoughts on the tight end market? Because it seems like we're on the same page.
I agree. I think that when you're looking at what's one of the biggest takeaways for the first 3 weeks of the season, not again for fantasy, it's, oh my God, the tight ends are horrible. But from real life NFL, it's, well, offensive scoring is down. Well, what position is most dependent on passing touchdowns? Ding, ding, tight ends are. That's why the tight ends have been so bad. Well, when you lose Jordan Love, who was second in the NFL in passing touchdowns last year, when you're losing these types of players, when they're not throwing as many passing touchdowns, then yes, the tight end is the first one to go on the chopping block and to suffer the most. So yes, the thing with drafting elite tight ends is there's always more risk associated because I think that tight ends carry on a little bit more injury risk when it comes to where they're deployed. Again, lining up in the trenches, get rolled up on which way or that. So I think that they carry more risk, but now all of the risk per se with what you're investing in them is gone because they're all cheap. right? You don't need, you can just take a shot. Again, take a shot on Kelsey, take a shot on Andrews. Again, I already have Andrews on all my teams, so I can't really go out and get him because he's already wobbling away on my roster. But if you went late round tight end, you're in the exact same position you were before, except now all the perceived elite tight ends are now valued as essentially late round tight ends because although value has been suppressed across the board. And I do want to bring up last year, right? You know who was bad at the beginning of last year, first 3 weeks? I remember I looked at one of my articles I wrote after the first 3 weeks. David Njoku. Horrible. Yeah. First 3 weeks of the season. I was like, cut bait with a David Njoku. These things come in waves, right? You get a quarterback, you get injury. What happened to Dallas Goedert, right? Oh, AJ Brown's out. Devonta Smith's out. 170 receiving yards, right? It can change on a dime. So I know you all want to just give up with some of these tight ends. I'm so sick of Mark Andrews not running in routes. I'm so sick of Travis Kelce just, not scoring any touchdowns. It takes 1 week, and then we're just change our perception all the way on these tight ends. So yes, I agree more. Get multiple guys, right? You can
I was saying play somebody to flex. Like, look, at some point the tight ends are going to come around, and all of a sudden we're going to go, oh, what a joke. We missed the window. Evan Ingram, all these guys, they're all opportunities to buy. All right, let's start with the questions here from the chat. Justin Davis, trade Chuba Hubbard for Gesicki and Waddle. Yikes. You can get Gesicki and Waddle for Chuba Hubbard. Now here's the thing. I understand Chuba was good last week. Jonathan Brooks possibly coming back in the next couple weeks. Waddle is really the question here. It's whether or not you believe that Waddle and the Dolphins' value of wide receivers can be salvaged this year. Where are you at with that?
I think I'm going to keep Chuba in this particular situation. I think that I want to wait on Waddle.
Imagine if I showed you that like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
Laugh me out the door.
And I would say Gesicki's not really one of the tight ends I'm looking to buy per se.
Me either.
Yeah.
You know what, man? I don't want to buy Gesicki, but I want Waddle, so I would do it. Especially if Dante Foreman was my fourth running back. I'd do that trade.
Chuba?
Oh, Chuba, rather. Sorry, Chuba. If Chuba was my fourth running back, I would do that. I would definitely do that. Let's go to next question here. Curtis, I have Bucky Irving. Should I trade Rachaad White for any of the following options? Connor, Singletary, or Pacheco?
I would trade him for Connor and Singletary, or Singletary.
I'm not mucking around with Pacheco. He's going to be out a long time.
I mean,
it's like a 12-week.
He has a broken leg.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm very
the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't want Pacheco.
Joe Navarro, good friend of the show, trade Nabers for Chase and Rhamondre Stevenson. Ooh.
Yeah, I'd rather have Chase than Nabers. So
there you go, and you get Rhamondre on top.
And you get a starting running back. Great, sounds good.
All right, let's go to Ozbat's Adventures. That sounds fun. That sounds like some sort of like early 90s theme park thing that Andrew went to as a kid. Did you enjoy Ozbat's Adventures after the Rainforest Cafe?
They have goodie bags. It's great.
Yeah. Rainforest Cafe, little Ozbat's Adventures. Andrew's out cold in the backseat on the way home. All sticky from all the cotton candy and stuff that he was shoving in his face. Tony Pollard for Rhamondre Stevenson, full PPR.
Seems
and Ozbat's is watching from Australia too, by the way. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I think this is kind of lateral for me. I'm not sure I see one guy significant over the other. I don't know if you think differently.
Well, one guy has less competition, and that's Stevenson. So I would lean Stevenson.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, neither offense is thrilling. I think we can both agree on that.
But let's go to. Don't you think Levis though has more upside than what the Patriots are going to do? Unless it's Drake, man. Like, I mean,
probably with the offensive line. I mean, it's not the quarterback play; it's the offensive line for the Patriots. That's a big problem. Jacoby Brissett is fine. Drake May will be fine. It's nobody can play behind that offensive line right now.
Correct.
Gabugexi. I don't know. Ferguson or Trey McBride, Richardson or Darnold.
McBride.
Yes.
And oh my God, Richardson or Darnold. I'm doing Richardson, man. This is the classic trap. Oh my God, the mobile quarterback's not running as much, and then this pocket passer has a 10% touchdown rate. It's not sustainable what Darnold's doing. Yes, he can still be good, but he's not going to sustain it. So this is a trade. I'm actually thinking I have Darnold Superflex, and I was going to actually approach the Anthony Richardson manager and be like, hey, you want to make a trade? Darnold's on my bench anyway. So
man, I mean, this is the time to buy in Anthony Richardson. There's no doubt about that. This next question is from Joe. Here we go. Anthony Richardson, Travis Etienne, HN, B-Rob, Mason, Bucky. Would you trade B-Rob for Jayden Daniels? You have Etienne, HN, Mason, Bucky. That's enough where I mean, you could do that.
Yeah. Because you can't start Richardson this week. against the Steelers. It's not happening. And Jaden
No, it's
Daniels
bad.
is on a heater. So you got to
Actually,
give time for Richardson to kind of gel and figure stuff out, but not this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe wait till this week, then send out the Anthony Richardson trades.
Dude, he's gonna be on the waiver wire after this week.
That's gonna be rough. Steelers have been good, man. Star Wolf, longtime listener. Hey, bros, I've got Andrews and picked up Njoku. There you go. But would you love to trade for Bowers? Is Andrews and Waddle a fair offer, or do I stick with what I've got? I think it depends on your roster here. I mean, Bowers certainly be an upgrade. I think Andrews and Waddle for Bowers seems like a little much to give up. I think I would just rather be patient at tight end. But if you're 0-3 and you can't be patient anymore, I'm fine with this deal. Where are you at?
I think this deal is fine. I mean, Waddle right now can't do anything with the quarterback play that they have right now. Again, they also have a bye week coming up soon too, so he's going to be
Snoop's going to save him, Andrew.
I hope
Snoop.
so.
Snoop Huntley. I called him Scoop yesterday on the show. Like he was
Scoop
a character
Sins,
on
actually
Newsies.
Snoop, and he is a Pro Bowler.
That's right, Pro Bowler. Snoop Huntley. Big Papa. Receive Nico Collins for Singletary and Shakir. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Accept. There we go.
He leads the NFL in receiving yards.
It's like, what? Yeah. Skylar Stroud, younger brother of CJ.
CJ?
Rest of season, would you rather have Waddle or Higgins?
Dude, oh, God.
I've broken Andrew. Andrew's broken, and it's 14 minutes into the show.
I think it's got to be Higgins because this Bengals defense is so bad. They can't stop anybody. And I think that Joe Burrow, I don't know how many games they're going to win, but Joe Burrow is going to throw for a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards. So.
What happens if they lose to Carolina this weekend?
Dude.
Which is not outside of the realm of possibility.
The risk is that T. Higgins is like, my hamstring hurts again, not coming back.
Not good. All right, Eric's question here. Should I trade Tyreek? Separate thoughts on trade for ATN. Let's talk about Tyreek Hill because I saw your tweet. I saw it, something about you being convinced about trading for Tyreek Hill. So let's talk about that.
So I think that it's been a little bit overblown about Tua not coming back at all. And I think that's really your opinion, right? Some people think that he's never going to come back. Other people think that he might. And the fact that when I saw him on the sideline at the Seahawks-Dolphins game, which was a road game, I was encouraged by that. To me, it seems like, hey, I still want to be part of this team. I know I'm on injured reserve. I know I'm seeing a specialist about my concussions, but it seems like Tua is in the mindset of, I want to come back and play. And that's what you need for this Dolphins offense to function at the highest level. So again, whereas I'm a little bit lower on Waddle, I know that Tyreek Hill has a higher ceiling than Waddle does at this point. And we've seen Waddle without Tua, he falls off more. But with Tyreek, I think that it's the precedent about him and the value with him is so low for a player that, I mean, was arguably the 101 this year. You could have taken Tyreek Hill first overall, and now you can get him. Usually the players like that are untouchable. So
yeah, that's true.
I think it's really bait. And maybe I should be higher on Waddle. Maybe I'm being too, I'm penalizing him and not penalizing Tyreek Hill and not being fair in that way. But I do think Tua is going to come back. And I think that's not what everybody thinks. And if you think that, then I think then you should be going out and buying Dolphins receiver. I guess the thing with Waddle is I guess I'm trying to, hedge a little bit because I don't know if Tua is going to come back, and I already have Jaylen Waddle on all these teams anyway. So I'm not trying to get more of Waddle at this point, but that's kind of how I see Tyreek.
Question about ATN also here. Now, he's pretty much an RB2, which is not it's a useful thing. At a certain point, obviously, I think the upside is capped here. So where do you stand with ATN? Is that somebody you'd like to be trading for or trading away?
I think I still want to trade for him because it's more of a, the offense overall hasn't been great. They haven't been scoring a lot of touchdowns, which has hurt ETN, but he's still seeing the heavy workload. Tank Bigsby, I know, got hurt a couple weeks ago and then wasn't really a factor. So are they going to lean on Tank Bigsby like they did in week one? Because everything since that has not been that. They haven't been using Tank Bigsby. So they'll think it's ETN. He still catches passes. And if this Jaguars offense starts to kind of figure it, I mean, their defense is still horrible. So they should theoretically be in games where they need to, trail and throw the ball, which is good for ETN. But obviously we saw that against the Bills and it didn't result in any points for what it's worth. But I think just given the state of the running back position, I still think ETN is a buy. I think the value has suppressed enough on him that makes him attainable.
Fair enough, everybody. Now, look, we know you're hanging out with us today, asking questions. We appreciate that. If you miss out your question here, make sure you check out the trade show this week. But if you miss all of those things, or even if you saw them and we didn't get to the players you wanted us to talk about, well, that's where my playbook comes in, because the trade analyzer is available for all of you out there as part of my playbook. That's right. Download my playbook or go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook. Sync your leagues for free. For free. It doesn't cost you anything to use the incredible insights we have for you in my playbook. You can get instant advice for all of your trade questions. And then we've got the trade finder too. Maybe you'll find a trade or two you never even thought about. So sync your leagues today, use the tools, dominate your leagues, and make the deals to get you to the fantasy championship with the trade analyzer and my playbook. Again, download the app today. All right, let's get back to the questions here. Andrew Erickson, let's start with Caleb. Should I trade Waddle, and what can I get for him? A lot of Waddle today. Today's the Waddle show, folks. Here we go.
Yeah, Jaylen Waddle. What can you get for him? Do you get Jayden Reed? I would make that trade.
Oh,
I'd get
I
Jayden
do
Reed.
that.
That's someone I would go
like
into.
that.
That's I think Jayden Reed's a good sharp trade target.
Shame on the Dolphins for not having a proper backup situated. In a year where they really could have made a run at this division, where it was really wide open, that knowing Tua's history with concussions, to not have like a Flacco or a Dalton or like a real veteran backup who you could just plug into this offense and just roll. I mean, shame on them. That's just a bad job.
I mean, maybe they thought they did because they had Mike White too, and
yeah, but they cut Mike White
team to beat him out to be the backup, but then what happens is he goes to play Seattle on the road and he lays an egg. So
it sure does. Officer Ron, trade Tyreek for Nabers and Worthy, full PPR. That's interesting. I mean, Nabers has been as good as it gets. So
yeah, I mean,
if you're 0-3, this deal makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think that getting Nabers. I mean, look, Nabers is 3 games in and he's a wide receiver 1. So that's not a fluke because he's a rookie. Again, he's attached to Daniel Jones, but he's also a rookie and he's doing this. And that just tells you the talent level that he is. It's at a completely other level that Daniel Jones has never been able to have. So yeah.
Colby, should I trade Cooper Kupp for Pickens and Shakir in the PPR?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the Kupp, and again, it's like waiting for guys to get healthy and then hoping that they get back to form and not get hurt again. Like, you lose seasons, I feel like, that way, Andrew, nowadays.
I guess for me, I'm not trying to add more injuries onto my team, right? There's probably already plenty of injuries already on my team. I'm not trying to take someone else's damaged goods at this point. I don't want them. I just don't.
What was the character on Eastbound and Down said? I'm not trying to be the best at exercising, right? Like, it's Kenny Powers. Kenny Powers. I'm not trying to be the best at. I'm not trying to like be the fantasy team with all the big names that don't play. Like, it's just sounds fun in theory, except to get goose eggs because they're not healthy ever. That's a problem. Dragon fired Noid. Is it a fair trade? Rachaad White for Stevenson? I don't think so. I think Stevenson's more valuable.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with you, but if you want to get rid of Rashid, Rachaad White, that's good. That's his name. Again,
if you want to get rid of Rashad Jamal Stevenson, then you should trade Raheed Moses. And then that deal
just get Stevenson and get Rachaad White off your team.
It's only week 4 and we were already like falling apart at the seams. This tells you where things are at right now. It's been a rough couple weeks here in the fantasy streets. Let's get to Tuffy's question here. Don't feel bad. I did the same thing yesterday. It was a hot mess. PPR, trade Kincaid, Kyron, and Nabers for CD, Gibbs, and Andrews. This is a blockbuster. All right. So Kincaid, Andrews. Let's start with the tight ends in this deal. Who wins?
I think it's Kincaid.
Okay. So side one, Kincaid. Kyron or Jahmyr Gibbs?
I still like Gibbs.
I still like Gibbs too. So we're even. And it becomes CD for Nabers.
I think that's probably the closest one overall. I mean, I think that I probably would want Nabers, but I don't know if it's by so much where Lamb isn't going to put in the same type of production. So
yeah, it's funny. I want CD Lamb because I'm thinking more long-term, and I'm thinking the defenses are going to start to say, all right, look, okay, Giants, we know you got that one weapon. Let's just do everything we can and let that one weapon beat us. Like, go make them beat you with Wan'Dale Robinson and Bellinger and like beat us that way, Daniel Jones. And I think that's coming.
Ultimately, for me, it's the Gibbs over Kyron is kind of what puts me on the CD Gibbs Andrews side.
It's a fair trade. It's a good trade for everybody. Like if you're a team that is a little RB needy and want to upgrade a little bit, I would say Gibbs over Kyron's an upgrade. But yeah, it's interesting. That's a big blockbuster right there. You don't get those very often. Sergio, Uncle Joey, how you doing? I need RB targets to replace Pacheco. Do you think J.K. Dobbins and Javonte Williams are good for James Conner?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'd rather have Conner than either of those guys. I'm a little worried about J.K. long-term, especially now that there's injuries to that offensive line. When you start losing tackles like flies in that Chargers offensive line and quarterbacks, that's a bad combination. This is your week, I think, to sell J.K. Dobbins at his peak potentially. I'm just saying potentially.
Well, wasn't that 2 weeks ago before he played the Steelers? I think that was probably the time to sell after
It was,
the massive
but
games.
at the same time, you could make the arguments, whatever. Once Herbert gets hurt again, once you start losing Alt, Slater, like game scripts are going to be negative for you. Like it's a lot of bad. It's a lot of bad, Sergio. It's a good time to get out of J.K. Dobbins. All right, let's go to Bronx Bomber. I've been using my Playbook app for 2 years, and as a blind fantasy manager, I cannot tell you how much it assisted me with my league. Well, that's amazing, Bronx Bomber. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure our dev team is just thrilled with stories like that. Super cool. Thanks for being with us on the streams, and obviously, thanks for using the tools here. There you go. That's a first-class endorsement right there from Bronx. Let's go to Pro Movements. Should I trade Garrett Wilson, Mahomes, and Singletary for Lamar and Tyreek?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I want Lamar and Tyreek. That's not even close for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Let's
that.
Go. Let's go. Leon Kessinger. What do you guys think about Godwin for Singletary and Worthy? I want the Godwin side of that deal right now.
I would much rather have the Godwin side, unless you're in a situation where you are really hurting at running back and this helps your starting lineup. Then
that's such a downgrade at wide receiver, though.
But if it's help, that's the thing. What if they're 0-3 and it's like, yeah, great, Chris Godwin, but then I have to start Tyrone Tracy in my RB2 slot.
I guess.
But in a vacuum, yes, I would prefer the Godwin side.
All right, let's get to the next question. Alfredo, London for Dobbins. I need RB help. No. This is the dark path, Alfredo. This is the path into darkness. We shan't see you again in the light. I would not do this deal at all. I would be looking elsewhere.
I think I'd probably try to trade for, again, the guy we just mentioned, James Conner. Try to trade London for James Conner.
I think that's much too. I don't want to give up London. I feel like London hasn't even scratched the surface yet. I feel like that whole Falcons team is going to be like this all year, just like a steady incline. I really do. But I mean,
wait till they put Penix in to the moon.
Oh God, the Mango Smoothie. Aaron Jones for Higgins. Need a wide receiver. Now this is a fair trade. This is fine.
I don't think this is a fair trade. Aaron Jones is what? A top 10 running back, and Higgins has done diddly squad all year.
But he's also an older running back, and he also
I think you can get way better receivers. You can get a receiver that's actually done. I'd rather have Jayden Reed, for example. I'd rather have Jayden Reed than T.
What about Terry McLaurin? Can you do that for Aaron Jones? I'd rather do that.
I would rather do that. I think that going for a receiver, I would aim higher than T. Higgins. Just
okay, fair enough. How I Met Your, I don't even know what that is. MOASS.
Letters.
I don't know. Half PPR redraft. I'm 0-3. Trade Aiyuk and Spears for Jayden Reed and Najee Harris. Well, I don't know if I want Najee Harris right now, but to get Jayden Reed right now, I mean, theoretically, yeah, that's a good deal for you. But
this is what I was talking about at the top. You got to take an elite asset, again, one that's not produced, in Brandon Aiyuk, and you need to split them up into usable pieces. Najee Harris is going to face the two worst run defenses in the NFL the next 2 weeks without Jaylen Warren. So as long as he's healthy, again, we can make if he's healthy with any running back, really. So I like Najee, and I already talked about how much I like Jayden Reed.
All right, next one's from Natalie. T. Higgins for Brock Bowers, half PPR.
Yes, I want Bowers.
I want the Bowers side of that one, too. Let's go to Kyle's question here. Full PPR, would you trade Davante Adams for Aiyuk and Ertz? I have no tight end at the moment. Adams for Aiyuk and Ertz. It's not terrible. I mean, chasing Ertz is dumb. Kyle, you know what I would do? I'd be playing the waiver wire with Komet or with, Pat Fryermuth or whatever. I
get if you just want to trade Adams for Aiyuk straight up. That's fine. Again, if you just kind of Ertz gets thrown in, but what I'd say is don't commit to Ertz as your long-term answer at tight end, because he could be the answer this week, and then it's not the answer next week.
In fact, I think it's less apt after you saw what happened this week that he'll be the answer. because now Jayden Daniels is like, oh wait, I'm really good at throwing the football in the NFL, and now I don't have to
I can
check
throw the
down.
ball more than
I can
5
throw the ball
yards
50 yards down. Yeah. It's a big leap week over week. Anfo, trade DJ Moore and Javante for Connor and a half PPR.
Yeah, I'd do this.
Wait, DJ and Javante for Connor? Wait, when did James Conner become LaDainian Tomlinson? What? He's fine, but
I mean, he plays on a
DJ Moore
high-powered
and
offense.
Javante, I
He
think
scores
that's
a
too
bunch of
much.
touchdowns.
Ugh, I hate that trade.
You want to keep DJ Moore and Caleb Williams as his quarterback?
I don't like any of it.
You
I
want
hate it all.
Dude, Javante might not even be on the Broncos in a couple of weeks at this point. So I was actually thinking about that. But all these running backs that have just been absolutely horrible. Who gets cut first and then signs with Dallas? That's the other thing I was thinking about. I was like,
nah, Rico's got that job. All Rico, all day. Tyler Jones, trade Rhamondre Stevenson for CMC or for stash use in the playoffs. My other RBs are Bijan, Dobbins, Rachaad White, and Chase Brown. No, I think this is a terrible idea. I don't know if you're going to see CMC all year. Sorry.
That's kind of how I feel.
Idea.
I can't. I'm not actively trying to acquire CMC. I don't know. That's just. Maybe I'm wrong, but
for Dobbins, but I'm not doing it for that. Dobbins, okay, but I'm not doing it for Stevenson. That's dumb. I just don't think that's a good move. Ricardo Castillo trades Sam Darnold and Kincaid for James Conner. Oh my God, what is? Am I missing something?
People are buying low on James Conner. It's a sharp move. He had a bad week last week, but he's still a bell cow, and he plays on a high-powered offense. I love it.
But he's James Conner. He is not special.
What do you mean?
He's a nice player.
He's good.
James, I'm gonna look at some. Look, he had a great week 2 against the Rams. By the way, the Rams have given up the 3rd most rushing yards of any team this year.
Yeah, okay, because they faced James Conner.
They faced James Conner. I knew I was walking into that one. The other 2 games, 16 carries for 50 and 9 for 17. What?
Yeah, what? 9 for 17 against the Detroit Lions, who have an elite run defense. I love it. Buy James Conner. I like it.
Let's go to Redbeard. Buy low ideas for Tyreek Hill.
I would Kyren Williams.
Kyren Williams, interesting. What about Brandon Aiyuk for Tyreek Hill? Could you pull that off?
I think so. Yeah. I do have some concerns about Aiyuk if he I don't know if he doesn't have the it factor this year like he did last year when he was trying to get a contract, then he got the contract and then turned fat and just decided he doesn't get open anymore. I'm kidding, of course, but
we don't turn, we just become heavy in our old age. That's what happens. God. All right. If you want to win some cool stuff and you're hanging out here on the stream, when you drop your comments below, subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, and you just might win the new Stunner Ring. And the Stunner Ring comes with a cool display case that's personalized. My God, that's pretty cool. Look at this thing. This is a ring that blings everywhere to let everybody know that you are the fantasy football champion. That's right. And it's from our good pals over at Trophy Smack. Head over to Trophy Smack and see everything that they have over there. They've got the flags, they've got the rings, they've got the belts, they got the trophies, they got everything, even loser awards. And this ring right here is going to go to somebody here, probably watching or listening to the stream today. Drop your comments below, ring the bell till it goes ding, and you might win the Fantasy Football League's Stunner Ring from Trophy Smack. Back to the questions, Andrew Erickson. Let's get to Polo. Trade Anthony Richardson, ATN for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Just start streaming QBs. Stream Fields this week. There you go.
Wait, yeah. Are you who are you starting this week? So I know exactly which one to fade and which one to not fade between Derek Carr and Justin
starting Fields. I'm starting Fields this week. That's it.
Will it be 4 weeks in a row you picked the wrong guy?
4 weeks in a row I picked the wrong guy between Carr and Fields. 4 weeks? No, just 3. But I still won anyway last week, so that means just play Fields. Just play Fields. Jimmy Kingsbury, London for Joe Mixon in a standard 10-man league.
Yeah, because I want the touchdowns, and you saw the Texans' offense wasn't really as good without Joe Mixon. I didn't think that would make that much of a difference, but apparently he did. So yeah, I won't want Joe Mixon.
Elite Joe Mixon, apparently. This is from Ghazi. Full PPR. Zay and Mooney for Rachaad and Dell. Want Rachaad White and Dell or Zay and Darnell Mooney?
I think for me, I think Zay Flowers is probably the guy I want the most. I think he's the best player in the deal. I don't know if
I
you
would
disagree
agree.
with that, Joe.
I don't disagree with it. And Mooney's performance in week 2, it was like, okay, that was fun, like big splash play touchdown. Then he had 8 targets, 8 catches
I mean, he's
last week.
right up there with London and targets. Like they're clearly the top 2
Yeah.
guys. And he
So
again,
I
London's
like
more of
this.
the
I like the Zay side too. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm with you. All right, let's go to Adam Cruz, Garrett Wilson for Tyreek Hill. Here we go. Well, Wilson's going to get shut down this week against oh my God, Sertan. So
yeah, I think that right now, Garrett Wilson, look, I think he's going to improve in the second half of the year, but right now it's just he's kind of in that wide receiver 2 range. And if you can get Tyreek Hill upgrade right now,
I think this is
Yeah.
exactly the kind of move you make right now.
Yeah.
Because it's probably going to be good for you even this week. I bet Tyreek Hill outscores Wilson this week.
yeah, I think I agree. There's no way that the Dolphins, again, they're playing at home. I think that even if it's Skyler or Huntley or whatever, I think you're going to get a better effort out of the Dolphins offense this week, regardless. Maybe not to the elite levels that we were expecting when we drafted all these guys, but it should be better.
All right, next one is from Seth. Trade Derrick Henry and Bowers for Amon-Ra and Kelsey. Now, the best player in this deal is Amon-Ra. Now, you're theoretically downgrading a tight end based on what we saw at Bowers, but I have a hard time believing Kelsey's just completely washed. Like, I don't know if that is going to be.
The thing with me with Kelsey is I think we've seen plenty of tight ends that are way past their prime fall in the end zone 10 times. Right. Like that, like that's the play. Like you're acquiring Kelsey because he's going to score touchdowns, right? You're not getting him because he's going to be catching 10 balls a week for 100 receiving yards. That's not the play. It's, hey, they're in the red zone because they have Mahomes, and who's he going to go to? He's going to go to Travis Kelsey. So I think that, I mean, if you think Amon-Ra is the best player in the deal, then I think I would make this deal as well. I wasn't sure because, I mean, obviously you like Derrick Henry a ton. So, and Derrick Henry's really productive.
He has, hasn't he? Now he's elite.
Touchdowns.
A lot of touchdowns. A lot of yards. You know, for everybody who kept telling me Derrick Henry's done. He's too old. Didn't look too old last week, did he? He's trucking guys, stuffing people's faces into the ground. That's the Derrick Henry I know and love. I don't care what format you're playing in. I think that's a fair trade. I think, look, if you're somebody that desperately needs running back and you move Amon-Ra and you have a lot of wide receiver, like that's very eye of the beholder, roster centric kind of deal. So it's fair on both sides. Officer Ron. Full PPR, trade Tyreek Hill for Nabers and Xavier Worthy. I'm okay with this if you want to get out from Hill. I think that's great value.
Yeah, I agree.
Understand it could blow up in your face in 2 weeks. You have to have that knowledge that this could come back to haunt you, because I do believe, and starting this week, you are going to see the Dallas Cowboys are going to say, all right, don't let Nabers beat us. I don't care. Double him, jam him at the line, bracket, do whatever you got to do. Make Daniel Jones find another way. And then we'll see what happens. Like, I think
are we going to get the Megatron treatment where they put literally 2 guys or 2 or 3 guys on the line of scrimmage right across from Nabers and be like, all right, let's see some of these other guys beat us.
If I was the coach of the Cowboys, and I'm not yet, that's what I'd be doing. I mean, this is the same stuff I do on Saturday afternoons in flag football. Hey, you see that kid? Don't let that kid beat us today. And guess what? If you don't let that kid beat you, you make somebody else beat you, you make them go to the football other places. Some teams can't do it. I want to see the Giants do it. I'm just not sold that they can. This isn't rocket science here. I mean, Nabers has shown out. He's been brilliant. And I think the tape is now out there and everybody goes, okay, he's a problem. We got to figure it out. And maybe no one can. Maybe he is just that. Maybe he's Justin Jefferson. Maybe he's Chase. Maybe he's in that range. It looks like he might be, but it's still Daniel Jones. It's still a very one-dimensional team in terms of where the talent is. I think the book is going to get out pretty soon. So let's go to Jay Frank's question here. London for Waddle and Goddard. This is a very now short-sighted trade for me, Andrew. I look at Goddard,
right?
Well, by the time you get 6 weeks in, into week 6 here, right? And Brown and Devonta Smith are all back. Goddard goes back to being kind of suboptimal, doesn't he?
Yes, but what if? I mean, weird things
Huntley
happen,
makes
right?
Waddle a thing, sure, like that, or whoever, or Skylar Thompson.
What if Brown doesn't? What if he re-injures his hamstring again? Right? Again, we're looking for paths where these tight ends can be productive, and one of those paths is when your teammates get hurt and you have to use the tight end more. Well, we know Dallas Goedert's a good player, and we know that he's been kind of in that mid-range of tight end, but it's because he's been playing around 2 alphas. But if you take the alphas out of the conversation, then Dallas Goedert can do what he did against the Saints, and not just one time. Like, again, it was a career game for him, but I think that, again, I think if you're 0-3, I think you need a tight end that can start. And Dallas Goedert in the tight end rankings this week is ranked really high because he might be the number one target for the Eagles.
That was a great conversation. If you love good conversation in fantasy football, well, we've got something for you. It's our Discord, FantasyPros.com/chat. It's the place to go where we have AMAs. We've got live shows going on there on the podcast feed where we take your questions, and you can be a part of Fantasy Pros podcast just by signing up for free for our Discord at FantasyPros.com/chat. And when you're premium, you get access to a lot more channels, the touchdown call contest, all kinds of fun things. It's a great way to find leagues. It's a great way to have discussions. Just a great way to get in touch with all of us here too in the Fantasy Pros family. So if you haven't already, join our Discord, FantasyPros.com/chat, and join us for all the live shows too. Andrew and Welsh do one on there. The Welsh and Bogman do one there every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So join in the fun. It's live. It's a good time. We want you there on our Discord. Be part of our community. Let's go to Quincy's question here. Trade Rice for Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I'd do that.
I don't know if you can pull that off, but maybe.
I don't know. Rashee Rice is on quite a tear.
He is. Well, I think there has to come a certain point too where defenses against the Kansas City Chiefs have to go, okay, maybe we should let Travis Kelce try to beat us as opposed to Rashee Rice. Like, I feel like that pivot, like Kelsey's older, maybe we can single coverage him nowadays as opposed to 2 or 3 years ago. Rice is the guy that's kind of killing you right now. Just saying. John's question, trade Pittman for Waddle.
Classic sell low, buy low scenario.
You are disappointed. I am disappointed. Everybody's disappointed.
I guess the question is, do you have more hope in Anthony Richardson turning around his passing or Tua returning to the lineup? That's how I kind of view this situation because it's all based on the quarterbacks. So I think in the short term, Pittman is probably a better bet just because, again, Waddle has a bye week coming up soon too, so you're not even going to get to see him. And if he flames out again in week 4, then you're sitting on nothing. Whereas Pittman this week is also a really bad matchup. So, I mean, yeah, I think I definitely don't want Pittman this week. So if I got to make a move, it would be to get Waddle now.
All right, let's go to the next one. Horvath. I'm a 1-2. I was offered Achane and Hopkins for Derrick Henry and Ladd McConkey. Do I take it?
1-2. I mean, Henry, who do you feel more confident about? Like, I mean, I guess
rest of season.
It's not, but I mean, it's not like it's 0-3 is different. 1-2 is different from 0-3. I mean, I like Achane the most, but it's not like Derrick Henry's not going to produce, even if his touchdowns come down a little bit. It's not like he's going to turn into a 0. So, and I like Ladd over Hopkins straight up. So
I think Derrick Henry is the safer investment all year.
Yeah,
you know?
I would agree with that assessment. And as I mentioned before, the Dolphins have a bye week coming up, so you're not even going to get to use Achane. So you could be sitting at 1-4, and then
that's a great point.
And then Achane's coming back, but you still don't have the quarterback. So yeah, I think you got to get Henry and start getting some wins.
Sam's question: hey, Fantasy Pros, wondering should I trade Nico Collins away for Jordan Mason and one of Davante or London? So Nico for Mason and Davante or London, I'm fine with that. If you can get either of those, like that combination, I'm good. Would you rather have London or Davante?
I would rather have London. Adams just scares me because of what I mean. If this Raiders, if they start losing game, like I just don't know what's going to happen with this.
When Aiden O'Connell takes over in the third quarter on Sunday,
with this potential implosion. I mean, I didn't see anything on film that suggested that Adams was dogging it. So I'm hoping that's not one of the guys' peers. I think he was calling out more of his defensive players than his offensive players.
I think so.
But yeah, no, it's concerning if they lose again, how Adams is going to be feeling. We all saw the receiver documentary, and it did not paint Adams in a pretty picture when things were not going right.
No, but I mean, hey, when you're a veteran in the league, you don't want to be irrelevant, you know?
Yeah.
And with so much time left to win championships. Designated Marvin Harrison Jr. for Tony Pollard and Davante Adams.
No, I'm just going to keep Marvin Harrison.
Bit of news just came across to Austin Eckler has changed from questionable to out this week, it looks like, with the concussion protocol, I believe.
Yeah, so he had a concussion, and I think I was reading his part of his ear was lacerated during the hit. Yeah, so it's like that may be going to why he's already been ruled out, because usually you go through the concussion protocol, and it's, is he going to be out? Well, I think he's dealing with like a bigger injury. So man, that sucks for Eckler. He's looked so exposed. I mean, why the Cowboys didn't sign Austin Eckler? Oh my God. Their running game.
Yeah, that would have been a really good fit for him.
Like that would have been the perfect buy low for Jerry Jones. You'd have to pay him anything. And
star power, the whole thing.
And like what we've seen from him last year was basically related to the ankle. Like he looks so explosive. He's taking kick returns off for big plays. So Eckler does not look washed at all. And it's unfortunate. He's like in a split committee and he's now dealing with this injury.
All right, let's go to the next one here from B. Trade Tyreek Hill for Jacobs. No. I don't care if you're stacked at wide receiver. No, I hate this trade. I hate it so much. Just on principle, Tyreek should give you back more. I don't care what the situation is. He's too good of a player. Sorry.
So what running back then? So again, he's looking to trade Tyreek for a running back because he needs running.
Well,
back.
Obviously, there's only one running back we're trading for, and that's James Conner. I think we've established that today. No, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think right now is interesting. I think people are a little, no, I say sour, but what
about Derrick Henry?
They really? Oh, sure. That I can understand.
Okay. So I'm just trying to give B here some ideas of
but Josh Jacobs.
I mean, I don't think it's
he's not even ranked as an RB1 this week. I'm sorry. Again, I know he had a great game against Indianapolis. Can we all just agree Indy's defense is terrible?
Well, Jordan Love's coming back too. That matters.
Right. It does matter.
But the offense should be better. And that means
it should, and he's going to throw more. There's less opportunities for him. I'm just saying. I just think I think on principle, you don't sell Tyreek. I think that's the exact kind of deal. 3 weeks from now, you got a running back with a lot of tread on the tires for one of the best fantasy assets in football. And you just hope that they can figure out the quarterback thing or wait another week and see what he does. And then you can reevaluate. I think.
Would you do it for James Cook?
Yes.
Okay.
If you were stacked at wide receiver, Cook is in an offense where it's very simple. It feels like he is the best version of himself that we've ever seen. Okay. So yeah, I think that's
so just trying to give BA some ideas to shoot a little bit higher than Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, not Josh Jacobs. All right, let's go to Avram's question here. Should I trade AJ Brown and Goddard for London and Godwin? Interesting.
I assume that you have a backup plan at tight end, or you're just, hey, I'll just play the waivers. That's fine. Yeah, if I need wins right now, because AJ Brown's not going to come back till at least week 6. So, yeah.
I agree. I think you take the W's, and it's not like London and Godwin all of a sudden become irrelevant necessarily.
No, those guys are going to be good all year to some extent.
JC Sports Guy, full PPR, JSN for T. Higgins. JSN had that big splash game. It's been nothing, and then explosion, just huge fantasy productivity, and then nothing again. Dangerous.
Well, yes, it is dangerous because it came against the Patriots, and the Patriots may have been like, yeah, just throw the ball to Jason. We don't care. like just whatever. You can let him just eat up. And so, I mean, he's playing Detroit this week. Again, you're thinking theoretically this should be a high scoring game. T. Higgins is playing the Panthers again, and also a good matchup.
The thing with T. Higgins is he is definitively the number 2 in this offense. And I do think at some point, the Bengals have some respect for themselves. It's not the offense. The offense is fine.
Yeah.
And as long as the defense is bad, the offense is going to have to keep scoring. I take T. Higgins.
I think I'm going to stick with Jason.
All right. Fair enough. There we go.
It's very close, though. Very close.
Everyone's trading Drake London, folks. Get on the Drake London buy wagon right now. Drake London and Aaron Jones for Chase in a full point PPR.
Yep. I'll take Chase.
It's a lot to give, but I think we're okay if you have the depth to do it. Nova Boar. Let's go for Lamb and Kyron for St. Brown and Henry.
Yeah, I would do that.
I think it's St. Brown and Henry, I think, is the safer combination, to be honest with you. Like just less volatile on a weekly basis. Let's go to B. Garber, Brian Thomas for Jonathan Brooks.
I love Brian Thomas, but I see the massive appeal with Jonathan Brooks as a trade target right now. So yeah, I think that I'm probably going to make this deal until we haven't had a lot of confidence in Jacksonville and their offense. It just kind of seems like a mess. So yeah,
I worry that it's going to take a long time for Brooks to be useful. Like I'm worried that, okay, maybe he gets activated week 5 or 6, maybe. And then it takes him another month to get workload, maybe.
So yeah, I guess B. Garber just be like aware of that when you're getting Brooks, this isn't a
B.
short
Garber,
term.
be aware of that.
Be aware. Change your name to Be Aware, B. Garber.
There you go. Oh, here you go. Jordan Mason for Connor. There we go. This is the perfect question for this show today. I want Mason.
I'm trying to
Give me
see.
Jordan Mason.
I'm going to take James Conner.
Yep. James Conner, greatest running back that ever lived, folks. Let's get to more Aaron Jones questions. Austin Gill, Aaron Jones for Mike Evans. In a PPR, I want Evans.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Jones has been on an absolute tear, and he's also playing the Packers this week. I knew that my props were going to all light up in flames on Aaron Jones unders when he was wearing the sombrero. And I was like, oh my God, This is horrible. It's over.
Yeah. You can feel it. I was
like, oh,
Jen Richards' question here. Trade Chuba Hubbard, Najee Harris, and Reed for Jonathan Taylor. Oh, I love this. Jen's doing the classic. Let me stack a bunch of mid and try to get some elite player here. The question is, can Jonathan Taylor still be elite in the current construct of what the Colts are?
Yeah, I mean, he's not the problem. Like, he's been good he's been good all 3 weeks, really. I mean, 1 week he didn't score the touchdown, 1 week he didn't get the 100 yards, but I think that he's not the issue. If anything, he's the engine that's moving the offense at all. So yeah, I like this move.
Rogue's got a question here. McLaurin for Mixon.
Yeah, I would do that.
Next year, Justin's question here. Trade Justin Jefferson, receive Tyreek Hill and Terry McLaurin. I'm not trading JJ.
No.
Sorry.
JJ has shown us that he can put a production at an elite level in like a half of football the first 3 weeks of the season. Like, the Vikings haven't even been trailing in any games, and he's just been super efficient. Imagine if you throw volume into the equation. I mean, Sam Darnold has shown, dude, yeah, Jefferson's going to be 100% fine. Any concerns people had before the season, like, erased. Like, there's
quarterback proof.
So
not everyone is.
Keep him.
The special ones are. Justin Jefferson special. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to join our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. It's football, and we want you to be a part of it. Also, if we didn't get to your questions today, go to my playbook, sync your leagues for free. Did I mention it's free? Use the trade finder, use the trade analyzer, and get all of your questions answered on whether or not a deal is right for you. And maybe we'll find a deal or two you never even thought of. And of course, leave your comments below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell till it goes ding, and you just might win yourself the stunner ring from Trophy Smack. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Happy hunting for those trades. James Conner. Greatest.
Go get James Conner right now. Go get him.
Top. You're the worst.